I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
So powerful. So romantic.
I'm from Sweden.
So breathtaking.
We're not worthy!
That was just like the first movie.
If you've been waiting for a motion picture to change your life,
Would you like to have dinner some night?
Oh, I like to have dinner every night.
so are we. Wayne's World 2.
Are you wearing fruit?
My woman likes me in cologne.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, December 10th.
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. There's another paid request, this time for Jordon. Thank you so much for that. And if anyone's interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, feel free to request it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both of those links are down below in the info box. And yeah, it would be for pretty much any type of request, video-wise. Feel free. Now, this is for Wayne's World 2. And to be honest, this is a sequel I did not grow up with. I've seen it before, but I remember not really being a fan of it. I was much more a fan of the first one. And watch it again, that feeling kind of is confirmed. Now, I don't know if this would be a rant, because the two leads, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, they're still endearing in their roles. They still have fun personalities given to the screen as these characters. Still fun to watch them. And there are moments that still made me chuckle. I think the best scene in the movie is when, from the first film, he's with his new girlfriend, Tia Carrera. And Mike Myers meets Tia's father, played by James Hahn. Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China. And then James Hahn and Mike Myers get into this big fight, and instead of subtitles, let's switch to dubbing. And then they do this fake awful dubbing on purpose, and the way certain movements are done, and even pick up a phone. See, that to me encompasses the imagination and creativity that I saw in the first movie. I wish more of the movie had that sense of creativity and fun. But there's a lot of stuff that is a big step down compared to the first. Like I said, I don't know if this would be a rant because, like I said, the two leads and moments like that did make me smirk. Some of the bits with Dana Carvey and Tim Basinger. And the way Dana Carvey, when Tim Basinger is dancing sexy, I love music. And Garth, you have any Megadeth? Like the way he said that line, innocently but cluelessly, gave me a chuckle. But this movie suffers a lot from sequelitis, where it's lazy, a lot of times it's uninspired, and a lot of times it's just repeating too many of the same gags, too many of the same plot points, too many of the same beats. And I didn't care for the story it was telling, where ultimately Mike Myers as Wayne, he gets a dream of a naked Indian guy, Native American guy, and Jim Morrison telling him he should put on a concert. So he listens to the dream, he's going to put on a concert, and supposedly Aerosmith and all these other bands are going to be there. So he's trying to set all this up. I'm sorry, that story's not interesting to me. I could give a rat's ass about that story. One of the many things I like about the first Wayne's World is even the story is cool. Where you could take a look at how an independent, more free-willing, free-spirited, doing it for the fun, doing it for the passion, local TV show, cable access, having the freedom and the fun to do what you want, and then being bought out by this more cynical corporation, and how you see all that change to be more corporate and selling out. There's a bit to play with in that, and it does. There's nothing to that within this movie. He wants to put on a concert. They get this guy from England, a roadie, which I didn't give a shit about his character. I didn't think he was that interesting. I got tired of the stories he kept telling to other people about he was with this guy, he was with that guy. I don't give a shit. And you have to realize this film came out only 1 year after the first film. The first film was 1992. This came out in 1993. That's very fast to rush out a sequel. That's incredibly fast. A lot of times when you get a sequel only a year later, not all the time, but a lot of times you can feel how rushed it is. Halloween 5. And no, I don't think this film's as bad as Halloween 5, but that was another film that the sequel came out only a year after. Are there exceptions? Sure. I like Missing in Action 1 and 2, and those were filmed pretty much back to back. That's why they came out so quickly. But when I say sequelitis, when I said beat for beat, it's a lot of the same gags. Once again, you have Mike Myers falling out with his girlfriend over a producer, only instead of Rob Lowe, this is a different producer played by Christopher Walken, where those two are now going to fall in love, and the finale is, hey, Wayne, you don't get Cassandra, we're going to work out this plot point here. Yet again, they do the multiple endings. That was fresh and original in the first movie. But now, instead of the Scooby-Doo ending, here it's, let's do the Thelma and Louise ending. And then let's do the sad ending, the silly ending, and then the happy ending. They did that in this first one, they do it again here. Let's do an ode to a blockbuster film. And the first film, it was the Terminator 2. When, have you seen this boy? As Robert Patrick. That was more generally funny and creative. Here it's like, well, we gotta do that again. Yet again it's in a car. Only this time it's Wayne and Garth. And only this time it's an ode to Jurassic Park. Does it look over and they see the dinosaur? Which now I'm thinking, when did this come out? Because Jurassic Park was 93 as well. And they did this joke. And this film came out in 93. That's fairly early to do a Jurassic Park joke. So I'm trying to remember what date did this come out of? Sorry, I'm going to check it real quick. I know I should just edit this out, but fuck it. I know people get pissed when I drink water. I'm sorry. I drink water. December 1993. Okay, December. And read up on it real quick. There was another idea before this idea where it was going to be Wayne and Garth. They succeed from the U.S. and start their own country. It was based on this film from the 40s, but then something about they weren't sure if someone would get sued. Because someone can at least attempt to try to sue you if you have too many things. John Carpenter did it with, what was that Guy Pearce film in space? Lockout? Was it Lockout? I forgot. But it was a Guy Pearce movie going in space. Might have been Lockout. And John Carpenter sued because he said that's a bit too much like Stephen New York. And he won. John Carpenter won. I don't know if anything else came of it. But I think John Carpenter won that battle. And so that can happen. And so the studio was pissed off at Mike Myers. Just, hey, we don't have the rights to this. And you better change it real fucking quick. So they changed it to this. Which probably then goes into more of the rushed feel of it. You know, once again, they bang their heads, and instead of Bohemian Rhapsody, it's this radio guy who has a stream, which I recognize the voice. It was Harry Shearer, who had a role in the 1998 Godzilla film. He voices The Simpsons a lot. He voices Mr. Burns. Of course, he's one of the band members, and this is Spinal Tap. And you do have some cameos. You got Chris Farley in there once again. He was in the first film. He's in this film, but he's playing a different character. I mentioned Kim Basinger as this sexy lady who meets Garth at a laundromat and, hey, come with me, you know, seduces him. Aerosmith makes an appearance as themselves. But again, that goes to what I was saying. In the first film, Wayne and Garth go to see a band. They go behind the scenes. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. They did with Alice Cooper. They do the same thing here, only it's Aerosmith. So I mean, you do that bit. The whole thing with the girlfriend. Going with the producer bit. The Ed O'Neill with the donut shop. He says another weird, violent thing just because he said that weird, violent thing in the first movie. This is referencing another blockbuster film, doing the multiple, 3 endings. Because they had 3 endings in the first film. When you see it done again, when you see it done second time in a row, it doesn't come off as fresh and doesn't come off as funny. And that's the thing, at the end of the day, this wasn't that funny. Even the soundtrack's not as good. Just look at the first film. In the first film, you have Feed My Frankenstein by Alice Cooper. You have Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen. You have Ballroom Blitz. You have... There's another one. Why am I not... It's tipping my tongue. Some of the other songs, Tia Carrere's band sings. I can't remember at the top of my head. But people don't go, well, man, why isn't this a rant? Like I said, there are moments that did. Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, and I'm a guy that didn't even care for their new Super Bowl commercial. But at this time, they still had an energy where they were having fun playing these characters. They didn't feel like they were going by the numbers performance-wise. They didn't feel like they were phoning it in performance-wise. I just think the script and the story was not up to par. I'm sorry. The director, I know the director did Kids in the Hall episodes, but I really do think they needed Penelope Spears, who did the first film. I know she clashed with Michael Myers on the first film. That's one of the reasons why she did not return. So instead she wanted to do that Beverly Hillbillies movie with Jim Varney, which I think that made more money than this. Because I think that worldwide that made over 50 million. This made 48 million worldwide. Was considered a disappointment at the box office. Considering the first film made a good chunk of money. But Penelope Spheeris, maybe she could be the editor in a way of, no, Mike, I'm not sure we should do this. We should do this. Well, I'm not sure about that. Could you do another take? Maybe it's someone who could go, you know what, I'm not sure about that. Let's go left instead of right. Maybe it's one of those scenes, the stars, Mike Myers, perhaps need to be held back a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have changed a thing. Maybe it still would have been the same exact script, and you would have gotten the same exact result. But yeah, I know I've been talking a lot of negative stuff about it. Talk some positives. I mentioned the whole thing with James Hahn. It was great to see James Hahn in there. Big fan of his. He was in Blade Runner. Like I said, he was Lo Pan, Big Trouble in Little China, The Golden Child, many others. It was cool for him and Mike Myers having this fight that I mentioned, the thing with the phone, and they're doing subtitles. Let's go to dubbing. Oh yeah, that was the imagination I was looking for throughout the rest of the flick. Early on, I liked when they're at the fast food place and they're trying to fuck with the fast food guy, and the fast food place has this weird but kind of funny face where the mouth goes up and down. And Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, they pretend as if the speaker's broken, like, hey, I want... And that's shake. Do that, it can order. But the fast food place, they understand the order absolutely perfectly, and they kind of shit on their joke that they're playing on the fast food. I don't know, I just thought, see, that was, I thought, clever. Because you think they're just going to go with the typical, what? What did you say, what? Instead, they twist it around. And, you know, the fast food guys fuck with them back. Yeah, I thought that got a chuckle out of me. The Kim Basinger, when I mentioned she was with Dana Carvey, at some of the moments where they have together. Hey, I love music. Cool. You got any Megadeth? That kind of stuff. Oh, there's a bit where Mike Myers is looking for directions in the third act, and there's a gas station attendant, and Wayne goes, wait. I mean, I know this isn't a big role, but can't we get a better actor? So the guy leaves, and in comes Charlton Heston, who gives this little role as a gas station attendant, and this little speech. And it was just cool to see Charlton Heston in there. I thought, okay, that was kind of funny. Can we get a better actor? So it's the idea of having Charlton Heston, who I do think is a good powerhouse actor, you know, a good presence, personality, for this little inconsequential role as a gas station attendant. That I thought was the joke, and I thought that was rather clever. Like, that I enjoyed. And it wasn't a copy of a joke from the first film. But yeah, just a lot of the jokes I didn't care about. Okay, they're dancing in a club that happens to be gay because they're wearing clothes. It's like the YMCA, so they dance the YMCA as it plays in this gay club, whatever. Christopher Walken, I don't think he worked in this movie. I like him as an actor. He can do well in comedy. I don't think he does it here. Rob Lowe fit. It's like he was in on the joke with the way he acted, with the way his persona. But Christopher Walken, he just... the way he gave his performance is like he was in a different movie. And for what's supposed to be this silly, goofy film, I don't think Walken worked in this. I would say he's pretty much just playing another version of Rob Lowe's character in the first movie, so he's not given much to do. Drew Barrymore has a weird random scene where she's a receptionist, and Drew Barrymore from E.T. and from Charlie's Angels and from... She was in a film called Never Been Kissed. She was in, a variety of other films. Got killed at the very beginning of Scream, the first one. Drew Barrymore, she's from Sweden. Her character's from Sweden, has a Swedish accent, and wants to go to bed and fuck Mike Myers' brains out. That's really it. And that character never comes back. They never do anything else with that character. Just for a random scene. Like, hey, Drew Barrymore, you want to do a scene? Okay, cool. She's acting Swedish. Then we're done. So yeah, the soundtrack's not as good as the first. The jokes are not as plentiful in a funny way like the first. The story was weak. I don't give a shit about this concert. I don't give a fuck. Hell, if you want to... Since they did so much of the same, does it did seem... For a lot of stuff they took beat for beat, like they want to do the same. Because that's maybe safer to do. If it worked the first time, maybe it works the second time. If you want to do that, then plotline wise, I don't know, do what was later done in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where Wayne and Garth find out that Hollywood wants to make a movie on their story. Someone sends the story in, hey, let's make a movie off of this. And you do a whole meta thing where they hire certain actors to play Wayne and Garth. And whoever that... Hell, I think that'd be pretty funny if, like, they get... We got these new guys as David Spade and Chris Farley try to play Wayne and Garth. And Wayne and Garth is like, yeah, they're exactly like us. Not. Or... If not them, then like big high-profile actors, but they try to act like Wayne and Garth. Or maybe they have auditions, and I don't think Beavis and Butthead was Beavis and Butthead a thing at the time? Like they do auditions, you get these different people, including Beavis and Butthead, trying to be Wayne and Garth. Why would it be Beavis and Butthead? Well, again, the first film played with reality and fantasy. Remember the scene in the first film when they open up the door at the donut place? And they see all those guys with guns and martial arts. What are you going to do with these guys? Nothing. I just always wanted to open a door and see a room where people were being trained like they're in a James Bond movie. So if you're playing with fantasy, then you don't really play with how do Wayne and Garth deal with Hollywood. It would be, on one hand, the detriment to that. It'd be similar to the first film, where the first film they're dealing with a corporate agency trying to take their show. Only this would be another agency taking their life, as in, their life story. But they did so much else the fucking same. Just go, at least that's a more interesting point of view than just some random concert, because they really run the joke in their ground with the half-naked Native American. They run that joke into the ground, 10 feet buried. He's always appearing, or he's grabbing stuff, but Mike Myers sees it, but Garth doesn't see him. They just keep, even the end credits, like the mid-credits they do with a Native American half-naked guy joke. Remember the old commercial with the Native American crying because he sees the trash? But this time, Wayne Garth's like, no, we'll clean it up. Was that... Even the mid-credits in the first movie was more clever. Like, what are we supposed to do? Guess we wait here until they fade us to black. Then it fades to black. I can't believe they did that to us. Here... Like I said, it's not nearly as funny, it's not nearly as clever, it's not nearly as inventive as the first film. The two leads doing the best they can. Tia Carrere is wasted in this. It felt like she had less to do in this than she did in the first one. And then the character just to go through the same bullshit as the first movie. Why? I'm surprised they didn't have Wayne's ex-girlfriend in this. I'm surprised. Or whatever. I mean, the only thing I'm leaving out is they do an ode to The Graduate. When Mike Myers is getting Tia Carrere back, is a whole ode to The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman, to the ending of that film. Soundtrack-wise, the only soundtrack I didn't mind was Aerosmith. A dude looks like a lady. You know, other than that, the music I thought was, you know, a big letdown. Just like the movie. When I first saw this back in the day, I thought it was a big letdown. And I've seen sadly worse comedy sequels. Dumb and Dumber 2. Bill and Ted 3. The Hangover sequels. Those are way worse sequels than this. But I don't think this is a good sequel either. At best, it's a mediocre sequel. And again, too many of the same beats, not nearly enough jokes working. A handful of jokes work. Dana Carvey, Mike Myers are fun, but it's not that great of a sequel. Sad to say. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.